Okay, so we ran out of battery. We ran out of energy. So
Oh,
you
hey.
see, if
Oh,
we'd had
yeah.
your company already going, we could have powered that thing with hydrogen.
That you could.
Now, Vince asked a great question. It's like, well, and like every entrepreneur, come on, I want to get to the money. We got to raise money here. I'm absolutely on the aspect of raising the money. Absolutely. And the story is such a big deal. Really, it may be the biggest of the big deals. Now, getting it written down, that's why we have a structure here. We have the background of the business, as well as your background as the one running the business. So basically you handle two backgrounds. Next thing, how does this thing make money? And what kind of money? That's the next part of the story. And it's not good enough to say, this thing's going to make a lot of money. It's not good enough. We have to quantify it. How much money? Now, I know, being an entrepreneur for a long time, that sometimes no matter how you work and think and figure, when it all comes down, you're finally picking the number from air. But it's got to be a good, educated pick from air, guess, rather than just a random pick from air. There has to be a rationale as to why you believe that's going to work. So what you start doing is you write down sales, like Toby, you did. So I think we're going to sell about 8,000 of these in a year's time. Okay. Now, if you're going to sell 12,000, that's way better. If you really think you're only going to sell 6,000, better say I'm going to sell 6,000 and then do 8, or 5 and then do 6. Here's the horrible thing. If you miss it by 1 on the low side, people just hate your guts. If you said you were going to do 8,000 and you do 7,999, they're pissed off.
Oh.
I know. But if you say you're going to do 6,000 and you do 6,001, they're thrilled.
That's people.
It's just people. It's human nature. So it's better to estimate low and bust that number than estimate high and miss the number. That's just so. You'll want to estimate where you really think you can do that number. You can hit that amount in sales. Now, after you hit that in sales, how much are you going to hit in profits? Now, maybe you say, well, Garland, we just want to grow it first, so we're not going to make profit the first year. We're just going to take market share. And here's the next part of your story that I should tell you. Either you've got to have sales that are going up and increasing, and sales equals market share, meaning you're taking part of the market. If the market is 200 billion and you sell 100 million, well, you took a part of the market. It's better if it's a big market, because the numbers just sound better to people. Even if you take a small piece of a big market, it sounds logical. Okay, if the market is 200 billion, yep, we're only looking for 1/10 of 1% of that market. Well, whatever that number is, let's see, 1% would be 2 billion, 1/10 of 1% would be 200 million. That's still a good thing, right?
That's a good number.
So it still sounds good. If the whole market's 2 million and you've got to take 90% of it to make any money, we're dead before we start. So it's good to have a massive market. That's a good thing. So now the other aspect is profits. So if you're going to start right off making profits, okay, that's good. What kind of profits are we going to make? And so they're thinking because if they want to get in, they're thinking, what am I going to get? So you do want to talk about either sales increasing and growing where you're taking market share, or profits, or if you're really clicking on 12 cylinders, both. Okay? Next thing in your story should be risk. What are the risks? And here's what most entrepreneurs start doing when I tell them, okay, what can go wrong?
There's nothing.
Exactly. They either say,
I got it figured out.
right. They either say there's nothing that can go wrong.
This is the coolest thing.
Exactly. And that's an entrepreneur. It's because we don't think in terms of what could go wrong or what might not work.
I've already failed 28 times in this. Nothing else could go wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Or here's the other one. Well, now this could happen, but if that does, I'm already going to do this, that, and the other. That's not the section for this.
No.
The section for that is the company model. How is this company going to work? That's the section for that, where you want to talk about what the company's actually going to do. That's where you talk about the company's going to do this, the company's going to do that, and here's how it's going to overcome, and blah, blah, blah. When you get to risk, it's just about what could go wrong, and that's very difficult. But stay your mind and just, okay, this could happen, and if that happened, yeah, it would pretty much end our possibilities. Because people should know, they have the right to know that, hey, this could go wrong, and if that goes wrong, baby, you're going to lose your money, or you're not going to make as much as you could, or this company's probably over, we're going to jump back up, but right then it's over, all right? So risk factors, things like what could happen that are totally beyond your control, things in the economy beyond your control, your absolute control. The entire economy, that's not within your personal control. Laws that could change overnight, not within your control. Environmental issues, a hurricane, an earthquake, depending on where you live. I'm sure right now they're dealing with a fire out in South Carolina. That wasn't something that people that had beachfront property anticipated. They were thinking, boy, this is finally going to be a good year. And so now, what was their contingency? If there's a fire, what are we going to do? So all these things are risk factors, as well as, what if, Toby, your dreams come true and it grows as fast as you say and faster? What if it grows really crazy fast? Is there enough of a educated workforce to pull from to handle that super fast growth? What about product? Can you get the product fast enough? Can it be made fast enough? Because that could be a problem. What happens if all of a sudden people want to buy your product like crazy and you don't have it? That's a problem. Now, that's the problem we say we'd love to have, but I'll tell you, that's as much of a problem as some other problems. It's a risk, okay? So these are things you put in your plan. Here's another batch. Come up with some people that have some kind of expertise. Let me give you a great example of this, that I never thought people would pay attention to. And so I kind of learned this. I knew it, but I learned it in the streets, seeing it really happen, not in like the streets, but in real life, doing this. Jim Voller talked about the people that were leaving their jobs or leaving their fields or their profession to come aboard and work with them. And the people that I talked to, they said, you know what, if that guy is going to leave a business he built and sell it and whatever to work with Jim, this must be a good thing. And I thought, I wasn't looking at it that way at all. Of course, maybe I was looking at it more like the entrepreneur who's saying, you should come aboard. What you're doing now, yeah, it's okay, but it's not going to afford you the opportunity you'll have here. But when that person made that commitment, so get some people that say, hey, yeah, when your thing takes off, I'd love to work with you. Especially if they have some kind of expertise or some kind of credibility, even in what they're doing now. Because that impresses people. They think, well, gee, if so-and-so is going to leave their business, their profession, their job, their whatever, and come aboard with you, wow, this must be really good. So that's all good for your story. Let me think if I'm leaving anything out of your story. Let's see. I got your background, why you're excited about it, what the company is actually going to do, including the background of the company. I've got how does the company make money, including the revenue, whether it's, the important thing is sales and market share, or whether the important, not marketing, market share, or whether the important thing is profits. How much profit are you going to generate? We've talked about your background and the background of the people that you're going to bring aboard, and we've talked about risk factors. That's all a part of building your story, and now we'll deal with how to take that story and put some cashola in your pockets.
Very good.